What if I told you that aging isn't about slowing down, but about embracing new adventures? Join us as we challenge the myths of retirement and uncover the vibrant lives we lead. As Henry sat in the cozy sunroom of their retirement community, he often engaged with younger folks who visited for their hearing loss workshop. He enjoyed sharing stories about his life and adventures as a professor, but he also felt compelled to address the most prevalent misconception about aging, the stereotype that retirement homes are lonely places, filled with a few disengaged residents sitting silently alone. "That's a myth," he exclaimed, his silver hair catching the light. He passionately recounted his own experiences, emphasizing that his new home was teeming with social activities. From discussion groups to book clubs, there was always something happening. What's truly thrilling is how the dynamics of friendship can shift rather dramatically when you retire. We're all in this together, and support is abundant. Beatrice, with her curly auburn hair astir, nodded along as Henry spoke, chiming in with her own take. "You know, when I first considered moving here, I feared I'd miss out on my vibrant life as a nurse and community volunteer. What I found instead was a supportive network. We come together for yoga, art classes, and even potlucks where I get to share my famous casserole." Her voice brimming with warmth, Bea shared how fulfilling it was to create something beautiful with friends, whether it was artwork or meals. These activities highlight an important aspect of aging: engagement. We're never too old to rediscover our passions, are we? Maggie couldn't help but join the conversation as she sauntered over in her brightly patterned tunic, paintbrushes tucked into her cardigan pocket. "Oh, you bet. I've been leading my art class for over 3 years, and let me tell you, these sessions have opened my eyes to the power of creativity, especially at our age. I see participants transform, not just on canvas, but in their heart and spirit." She gestured animatedly, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We're all in a dance of learning together, breaking free from the notion that older adults can't explore new art forms or styles," Maggie proclaimed, and her excitement was infectious. "Every stroke of a paintbrush seems to tell a story that transcends the limits of age," Henry interjected with a laugh. "Right. We need to challenge that old stereotype, don't we? Many believe that this stage of life means simply coasting along, but it's actually a time for flourishing." His gaze turned serious as he continued. "Statistically, staying socially engaged has been shown to enhance both physical and mental health. Retirees who participate in community activities are happier and healthier than those who withdraw." He leaned in, looking his friends in the eye. "So this isn't just about breaking a stereotype. It's about living your best life. We have power over how we age." Bea, reflecting on her nursing career, leaned back, a slow smile creeping over her face. "I remember when we used to talk to our patients about how essential it is to maintain social connections. The same is true for us. My friends here have become my family. Whenever I feel anxious or low, a quick call or a visit with someone brightens my day. It's important to remember that we can affect each other's lives for the better." She described moments spent over cups of tea, sharing laughter and stories that stitched their lives closer, creating bonds as strong as any family ties. Loneliness isn't something we have to accept. There's so much joy and connection to be found. The trio quietly contemplated all they had shared, each pondering the roads they had traveled and the adventures that lay ahead. Henry eventually concluded, "It's crucial to realize that our journey here isn't just about years added to our lives, but life added to our years. Possible adventure is around each corner, waiting for us to step out and embrace it." Looking at his friends, he felt a swell of unexpected excitement for what the future held, with a renewed understanding that aging could be synonymous with adventure, vibrancy, and an unstoppable spirit. With their heartfelt conversation wrapping up, Bea playfully suggested, "Let's plan the next project for the art class, and perhaps a collaborative mural can be our next step." With that, each of them felt a pulse of enthusiasm, eager to get started on what promised to be a beautiful blend of colors and creativity. Wouldn't it be wonderful to see how their artistry could weave together as a representation of their shared journeys and friendship? As the trio gathered their materials for the mural project, Bea clapped her hands together, her eyes sparkling with an idea. "You know," she began, "it's important to reflect on how our living arrangement here respects and embraces our independence instead of stripping it away." With her floral, patterned cardigan draping comfortably around her, she gestured toward her friends gathered around the table. "Moving here didn't mean giving up my autonomy. It meant I was presented with new opportunities to thrive." She shared her newfound experiences, dealing with everything from her gardening club to her role in the community center, where she could still advocate for health and wellness education within her generation. "Creating that sense of community gave me back the feeling of control," she said, her voice rich with conviction. Henry smiled, nodding in agreement. "Absolutely, B. There's a common misconception that retirement homes are places where independence goes to die. In reality, it is often quite the opposite. Just look at what we're doing right here with this mural project. We're pooling our talents, supporting one another, and challenging the idea that older adults can't engage in meaningful creative work. My favorite moments are when we all come together, respecting each other's preferences and creating something that resonates with who we are individually." He reflected on how he had always encouraged his students to use their voices and pursue their passions, realizing now he was living that lesson in a new way, inspiring others in his community. Maggie chimed in, her hands animatedly gesturing as she spoke. "I agree, Henry. I lead my art class with the intention of fostering independence and creativity, a space where no idea is too wild, and we're free to explore." She recounted a particular day when a shy newcomer named Clara joined her class. In just a few weeks, she evolved from painting timid little flowers to a breathtaking abstract that took over an entire canvas. That's the magic of allowing individuals to exercise their freedom and creativity. Maggie's exuberance became palpable, her flowing gray hair bouncing as she spoke. "This community is not just a place to live. It's a place to flourish. Each person here, no matter their background, has the ability to forge their paths." The more they talked, the more B felt compelled to unveil another layer to the conversation. "It's vital to understand how to advocate for personal choices in a retirement setting." She remembered the initial apprehension navigating the system when she first moved in. She didn't want to feel like she was being proscribed to a standard routine. "I trained myself to ask questions, speak up, and ensure my desires were respected," she shared, recalling how she had led initiatives for healthier dietary options after discovering that some residents preferred vegetarian meals. It motivated others to voice their needs as well. "It's the perfect example of how we can shape our environment," she added confidently, her nurturing demeanor shining through as she encouraged her friends. Henry leaned in, invigorated by Bay's words. "Exactly, B. It starts with communication and outreach. Just like I often told my students, becoming an advocate doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel, just take the initiative." Drawing from his own experience, he recounted how he had lobbied for special social events, focusing on topics he believed would resonate with the residents, like a guest speaker series on technology for seniors. "Engagement in our retirement home comes down to expressing what we desire and brainstorming in collaboration with others," he said, his enthusiasm infectious, igniting a sense of possibility for the group. Maggie interjected, her eyes bright with inspiration. "And let's not overlook the importance of mentors. We have enlightening experiences to lend to one another. Think of how leaders in our community have guided us, encouraging us to explore new things we never thought possible." She remembered her own mentor from art school, an older artist who had entered her life when she was on the verge of giving up on her creative career. "Forming relationships where we can share wisdom and ideas is what makes our community vibrant. We build each other up, and each story exchanged deepens our connections." The trio felt renewed as Maggie spoke, eager to embrace their mentorship opportunities, even beyond the canvas. As they prepared to start sketching out their mural project, Bea looked around the warm, sunlit room, filled with laughter, colors, and creativity. She realized how fulfilling it had been to challenge the misconceptions that surrounded aging and retirement. "Living here has taught me that our independence succeeds alongside our communal efforts. We've reshaped what the world perceives about seniors," she exclaimed. We each have our unique talents, and here we not only celebrate them, but enact them freely. Our voices matter. We are building a narrative of agency and resilience. The conversation was one of shared wisdom, empowerment, and a collective determination to spread awareness to others, still bound by the fears surrounding aging. Looking back at the canvas, they each held promises of vibrant colors and remarkable stories intertwined. The possibilities felt limitless, filled with energy and optimism as they began marking their space. "So, what do you say?" Henry suggested, a twinkle in his eye. "Why don't we embrace the idea that the best is yet to come, right here together in this bright corner of the world?" The laughter from his friends echoed affirmatively as they leaned into their brushes, ready to leave a vibrant mark of independence and creativity together. Would their mural become a testament of not just their stories, but of all those who dared to redefine aging in their community? As they sat surrounded by paintbrushes and vibrant colors that mirrored their excitement, Bee thought deeply about one compelling misconception: the belief that aging inevitably leads to decline in health and vitality. "You know," she said, her voice a soothing balm in the creative chaos around them, "too often people assume that reaching a certain age means we have to surrender to the shadows of frailty or sluggishness. What they don't see is the abundance of energy and passion that can thrive at this stage in life." Frequently, she had seen neighbors who had adopted healthy habits and remained engaged in their passions, proving that age itself is not a deciding factor in one's well-being. The group was a vibrant testament to an alternate reality, one where the ability to thrive increased with each experienced year. Henry, ever the intellectual, took the opportunity to expand on Bee's point. "In my time as a sociologist, I encountered countless studies showcasing how lifestyle choices directly influence not just longevity, but quality of life," he shared, his glasses perched low on his nose as he reflected. "Research shows that simple activities like taking daily walks, engaging in social interactions, pursuing hobbies, and even practicing mindfulness are essential in staving off health issues as we age." He recalled his documentation of older adults who participated regularly in physical activities, recounting how they claimed to feel as spry as ever. Honestly, guys, witnessing this minute shift in perception can shift lives. Each syllable of our story redeems the belief that aging has to mean decline. His enthusiasm lifted the room, inspiring the others to fill the air with their own testimonies. Maggie leaned in, eyes glimmering with energy. "You know," she said, "I've always felt that creativity fuels vitality. Look at my studio sessions. Each stroke of the brush or pulse of clay is like a shot of adrenaline for the soul." She spoke passionately about how she had recently helped a neighbor named George transition away from binge-watching television. Together, we started an art project inspired by the seasons of our lives. At first, he hesitated, grumbling about being too old for such activities. But soon, I watched him transform, regaining that sparkle in his eye. The beauty of it is how we're never too old to explore new pursuits that invigorate us. Maggie's voice rang with excitement, each word leading them closer to the understanding that they could choose to redefine their aging narrative. In the spirit of this positive shift, Bee decided to share her own daily routine. "I started doing yoga a few years back," she explained, her nurturing tone filled with wisdom. "At first, I could barely touch my toes. But here I am now, embracing both physical and mental balance amid friends. And it has been transformative." She encouraged everyone to consider incorporating subtle changes to their routines, whether it involved brisk walking around the community garden or perhaps joining a cooking co-op focused on plant-based meals. Start small, and soon you will find that your body and spirit will follow suit in flourishing. Find what fuels your soul and let it guide your movement. Bee's words wrapped them all in a comforting embrace, igniting a shared motivation to shine a light on their hidden potentials. Henry nodded vigorously. "Furthermore, let's not forget about the role of community in fostering health. I can't stress how vital social engagement is. Humans are social creatures. Having this close-knit group of friends here keeps our spirits high and our minds vibrant." He recalled the weekly trivia nights they hosted, filled with laughter and lively conversation. Every question prompts more debate and discussion, and I felt sharper than ever dreaded. Senior moments have become far less frequent. Together, we create an ecosystem where age doesn't matter as much as our collective desires to learn and grow. By reinforcing the power of friendship and connection, Henry instilled in them not just a desire for physical activity, but a deeper yearning for community involvement. Maggie brightened, recalling something that tied their sentiments together beautifully. Our stories unite us, don't they? Just as I learned from Clara, each road we choose tells a tale of resilience and courage. She reflected on how meaningful conversations sparked new ideas and ignited passion in her art classes. When we share our journeys, whether through laughter, creativity, or shared victories, we inspire each other to break through limitations others may believe exist. Stories reveal that we have agency over our lives, and each of us possesses the power to change the ending. The emotions buoyed in the room as she brought their discussion full circle, reminding everyone of the impact they could have on both themselves and others. As they prepared to apply their first strokes to the mural, Bea took a moment to look around the room filled with laughter and purposeful energy. In these glorious years, we can still dazzle with our lives. Let's continue to fight the myths surrounding aging as we embrace our vitality, creativity, and independence. Each person nodded, their brushes poised, their hearts full. They were not just residents of a retirement community, they were pioneers setting forth to redefine aging, showcasing that possibilities often outweigh limits. What stories will we paint together today? Bea wondered aloud, knowing the possibilities were as endless as their dreams, invigorating the spirits of those around her. As the laughter of Bea, Henry, and Maggie reverberated off the walls of the community center, there was an air of creative energy that wrapped around them like a warm blanket. The mural project they had embarked upon was not just an artistic endeavor. It was a blossoming testament to a shared belief that living in a retirement community is not synonymous with giving up. It was in this very space that they were fostering connections that arose not from necessity, but from choices filled with passion and intent. Bea had always believed that the most vibrant of lives can continue beyond the traditional notions of aging, and her heart swelled knowing that she was surrounded by friends who felt the same way. "Every stroke we make here symbolizes our voices, our aspirations," she exclaimed, sweeping her brush across the canvas without hesitation. Henry chimed in, his face lighting up with excitement. "Paul, one of our neighbors, moved here just last year. Many thought he was settling because he couldn't manage alone at home anymore. But that couldn't be further from the truth." With deliberate gestures, he painted a picture of Paul's journey from a life filled with solitude to one bursting with friendships over card games, book discussions, and spirited laughter. "You should have seen him at our last game night. He held his own against some of the younger contestants. It's exhilarating to see someone thrive because they sought community instead of isolating themselves. Such transformations ought to be celebrated," Henry reflected. The stories held within the walls of their community were tangible, vibrant reminders that choosing to engage in life was indeed a powerful decision. Maggie added her own story to the chorus. "I remember being introduced to a woman named Clara last spring. At first glance, she seemed reserved, withdrawn even. It turned out she was a former ballet dancer," she said, her enthusiasm infectious. "We invited Clara to join our art classes as the instructor. I recall how she hesitated but eventually agreed. Over months, her presence ignited a spark within us all. She taught us grace and balance through artistic expression. Now she's not only painting alongside us, but even facilitating a new class on the emotional power of movement in art." Maggie's reminder resonated deeply with the group. The mere act of sharing inspiration sparked a greater collective motivation. "Living here isn't merely about care. It's about uncovering layers of who we still are," she declared, a radiant smile illuminating her face. The stories continued to pour out, each voice layering together to craft a symphony of empowerment. Bea took a moment to reflect on her own life choices and how they had guided her to this place of growth. "My journey has never just been about nursing. It's also been about empathetic caregiving. I often tell those who ask how I've remained so joyful despite my challenges that it all boils down to intention. She looked around at her companions, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. Every time I engage with all of you, whether it's in a lively discussion about wellness trends or painting vibrant murals, I discover new reasons to keep dreaming, learning, and living boldly. Her eyes twinkled. The conviction of her message was palpable. The inclusive atmosphere blossomed, and it was clear that they were not just fighting misconceptions. They were living examples of the principle that retirement communities are buzzing with personal agency and possibilities. Henry spoke earnestly. Don't let the fears of society dictate your path. We have immense power over our aging narrative, and we must advocate for it. If we allow the myths to seep in, we sacrifice not just our present, but also our vision of the future. His eloquence echoed, forging a commitment to challenge the stigma that often accompanies older age. Each moment spent in camaraderie and creativity became a testament to their vitality and choice. Let's be the beacons of hope, Henry concluded, and take charge of how aging is perceived, one brushstroke at a time. With paint-smeared hands and hearts brimming with purpose, Bia led the group in a slightly more serious, yet hopeful direction. As we walk through this journey of life, it's pivotal for us to recognize that our choices shape our narratives fundamentally. So why not embrace dialogue with our families and loved ones about these perceptions of aging? Each conversation we initiate plants seeds of understanding, and together we can nurture a new narrative. Everyone nodded, a sense of unity washing over them. Reassured by their combined strength, Bay encouraged them to find spaces where they could express their thoughts and feelings. Don't shy away from discussing these important topics. Embrace them. Encourage those in your lives to think differently about this stage. What options exist? What dreams can they still pursue? As the mural began to take on a life of its own, the colors representing not just depth and dimension but also the rich experiences of each resident, Bee felt an immense sense of pride and fulfillment in laying down foundations of hope driven by personal choice. The smiles on their faces were stories waiting to be shared. With paintbrushes poised, Maggie posed the question that was on everyone's mind. What more can we create together? And with that, she realized they were not just artists. They were pioneers of a movement celebrating aging, showcasing that it is an opportunity, a time to explore, engage, and flourish in ways once thought impossible. Today, they were choosing